Hello friends, welcome back to the video series explaining about pivot tables. In the last video we have understood how to handle the pivot cache, how to refresh it and so on. So in this video let us understand the full concepts of pivot table tools. When you keep your cursor on the pivot table, you will get an additional tab called pivot table tools. Under that you will have further tabs, analyze and design. This analyze and design is actually been placed from 2013 onwards. Before that the pivot table tools option will be like with options and design. That means the analyze was earlier as options and remaining everything is same. So you need not get confused. If you are using 2007 and 2010, please read analyze as options and rest everything is fine. And let us go ahead. Once you have selected analyze, you have few options available here, which is refresh and change data source. Refresh and change data source has already been covered in the last video, where you can refresh the pivot cache and you can change the data source if the data source is extended or further fields been added, and then accordingly you can update your pivot cache. So let us understand the clear, select and move pivot table options, and accordingly we can understand other features in the next video. What is clear option? So you have two options in this, which is clear all and clear filter. Suppose you have started and created a pivot table but the pivot table has not been built properly. In that case you can just simply say clear and say clear all, your pivot table is disappearing. So then you can start afresh and you can just put the fields into the different areas, so that accordingly you can do your pivot table and you can do the analysis. So clear filter is nothing but you have certain filters. You have a filter area and month, and you have filtered by May, but you wanted to clear now the May filter and you want to bring everything normal. Say clear filters. So every filters are cleared and all months have been set, and a general statement is prepared. Of course this can be done through manually. You can select May. Of course you can just bring them all also, but this option is available. It's always better to understand all the ribbon options clearly, so that you know better than anybody. So the best way of understanding the Excel, best way of practicing Excel is to go through the ribbon options, and each option is checked, and then accordingly the shortcut for that option is learned is a better way, so that you'll be more proficient in in Excel. Now let us look at select option. Select option is useful for selecting a specific field and format it or do any other action required for the analysis. So doing the selection, using the select option, you need to make sure that enable selection is activated, and then you can put your cursor here, select, enable selection, select. You can select either labels and values, which is row labels and values, and you can select values alone and you can select labels alone. So this is the way. If you keep your cursor on April and then select, enable selection, you can select all April months together, all April months for each employee together, and then only values, you can do only values, and you can do only labels as well. And this can be done through a manual action as well. Make sure that your selection option is activated, and then keep the arrow at row label edge like this, and select all the employee names have been selected, and keep the cursor on month, and just put that, say at the edge of the cell, select all the months have been selected. It is only labels. If suppose you wanted to select entire values and labels, keep the cursor at the edge of the row, select it so that labels and values are been selected, And for the month of April, all April months are going to be selected. Keep your cursor on April month and all the months, April months along with values being selected. So with selection, what we do, I wanted to select all the April months and format it. I have formatted, and I want to select in this way also. I want to select, go to cursor, keep the cursor here and just say all the months. I can select all the months. So this way this is useful. So the select is for that purpose. In the same way you can select entire pivot table. Just select it. And then what, after selecting the pivot table, what you are going to do, you can just move the pivot table to a different location. You can just give the different location. The pivot table has been shifted easily. So this can be done for the purpose of moving the data for a convenient place. Suppose your pivot table is here, but you are trying to put more data here. So in this area, so obviously you can shift your pivot table. You can do cut and paste as well, but this option is the best one. Just analyze, go to select entire table and then move pivot table and give the range, give the location, starting location, shift it. It's been shifted. The memory been shifted to a different location. So that way clear, select and move table options have been understood. The second thing is the name of the pivot table. Name of the pivot table is currently by default the pivot table name is pivot table 1, 2, 3, 4 book and all, like sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, like book 1, book 2, book 3. In case of workbook it is book 1, book 2, book 3. In case of sheet it is worksheet, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. That way for pivot table it is pivot table 1 and 2 and 3. So that way you can change the name. Just select the name here and you can give the name Excel tutorial. You're done. So the name of the pivot table is now is Excel tutorial. The pivot table name is appearing in the pivot table option as Excel tutorial. So that way you can change the name of the pivot table. It is here, and you can further options as well. You can go to the options. The same options will come here. And always I suggest that please keep practicing on the videos what I have explained so that you can learn on yourself. So I'm completing this video at this moment, and if any questions please come back. Thank you.